Hi, and welcome back to our channel. This is part 2 of Pitfalls for game devs.
But first, let's get cozy. Over-prepare yourself before even starting something. This doesn't only apply to game dev, but also to general hobbies. When you want to try something new, think of it as, I need all these resources, I need to spend money on
The best of the best.
hoping that you can actually start this hobby the right way. And then maybe you won't ever give up on the thing because you're already very prepared, But this only leads up to you being overwhelmed by how many things you already have and need to implement to even start something. So most of us lead to giving up before doing it.
Yes, and if we look at it from a little bit of a psychology point of view, then generally we're just trying to drag out our failure. It's just the fear of once you start, you see that you're not good enough and all this, because frankly, tools don't give you the skills. If we start a new hobby or something, to try to use the least possible tools for it until we're sure we actually like it, because otherwise you spend money, time, effort, and worst case scenario, it's a hobby like, skiing, where you have a bunch of things that then take up space, and if you don't like it, or if you basically exhausted all your motivation on buying the things and not on doing the thing with bare essential minimum, then it might just stand around and collect dust.
Yes, and honestly, it's a bit more fun to keep buying stuff over the time because you start learning the new skill for the hobby or something new, and then you upgrade yourself.
Let's take the example for skiing. Here you say, okay, if in the next winter I still want to do skiing, I will buy myself better equipment. If I manage to go down this slope really well, then I can buy something new. And then you condition yourself to progress.
Exactly, and you reward yourself. It takes all the fun if you reward yourself before doing anything.
Exactly. Something else that happens a lot is you want to have experience in something, and then you sit down, you say, okay, I will do this right. And then you just get overwhelmed because maybe you don't find the right tutorials, or the tutorials just don't seem to work for you. And then you stop altogether. And it has a lot to do with this impatience of trying to get progress when you're desperate for it. Whereas if you give yourself time and plan accordingly, generally things in the beginning take way longer. Everything just takes way longer. Even if you're a pro and you think, this will be so easy, 7 hours later you're still struggling with it. It's just basically you giving yourself the time and necessary things to be able to do this without stressing so much about the outcome.
And also manage your expectations from early on what you can achieve, what you want, and know that you're just starting something. So don't fall for the I already need to be the best in it, or where are my results. Just take it in your own rhythm, okay, and expect slowly more and more. Let's say that you're starting 3D games and you find yourself at some point with bad performance, or maybe even post your game on Steam or anywhere and you're a solo developer like most of us. Bad performing games lead to bad reviews and unsatisfied players. And a way to solve bad performing games is to try new mechanics in separate scenes or projects, because new mechanic often comes with new scripts that are not necessarily created by you. You can test it in another scene and see how it performs. Check the benchmarks, see your RAMs and memory, how much they are used, and just test it. Focus on performance, because it's very important that the game runs smoothly. That's what you want. Even though the game is not the best at the moment or doesn't look polished now, it's good that it just runs, okay? And that you can play it smoothly in your scene.
That is a really good point. And also, I think we all have been there where we work on something for so long that frankly we don't want to see it again. And when it comes to the testing part, it's just we close our eyes, say, did I work well on this? I did. Do I have to test it? No. And then we send it to the client, or we open it when we actually need it, and we realize that it doesn't work at all. And of course that's really unnice to experience. So I would say we recommend, or what we try to do, is always keep that pocket of energy for testing there. Don't try to avoid it, because it's essential, and frankly you worked so hard for the product to work. You didn't work on it to just close your eyes and say it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, and we know the feeling of you worked so much on it and you just don't want to spend your time on the same things over and over again. You want to go into something new, exciting and creative. But as she mentioned, focus on it working. We all tend to see our products as our little babies and we want to nurture them. And we don't see the flaws in our products. And that's exactly why we are trying to look at our games from the point of view of a player, and we try to kill the game. As early as you can kill your game, the earlier you can actually fix it and have a game that actually works.
Sometimes we're just so protective of that baby that feedback generally is not necessary.
Yes.
But frankly, people should play it and use it, and we need to be open enough to want to be flexible in this regard. Another pitfall that we have actually discussed in a previous video is the inconsistency of the art, which comes from the lack of concept, or generally a direction from which you start and go to and keep during your project. That happens when you start a project on a whim and you don't want to focus too much on the unnecessary part, or you actually have to find sense in it. One day you wake up and you start drawing or creating an asset for your game, and the next day you start creating a different asset for the same game, and in the end it just is a bunch of different styles, or you know how to make buttons on the menu in one way and the gameplay looks completely different in another way, or you use a different font from what you should be using because it doesn't fit the style. All these things create inconsistencies that just stop the aesthetics of your game, of your product. And as we said earlier, the visuals is the first thing that the client sees, and if they don't look good and if you didn't put effort into it, then it kind of shows that there's some kind of lack of in-depth working and attention to detail.
It can happen very often that the scope of the game changes because you've been spending months on your current game and suddenly you learn new mechanics, new art styles, or maybe you got a new employee or a partner that can help you with the game, that can better the game. And you make the game better by improving the art style or the mechanics, the buttons and everything. And inconsistencies can happen.
If you create your own assets and are this type of really multifunctional human that can both do the game and the art, try to keep yourself to some rules, like using the same brush when you work in Procreate or whatever platform you use, or try to keep the same thickness of the lines or the same color scheme. Things like that help you keep the style in one and don't let you thrive or go too far outside of the scope. And what helps in this regard is if you're comfortable with one, keep that one. And try to exercise the other types of things that you want to do in different projects, but don't try to mix everything new or interesting that you learn into one project, because it will just be way too overloaded of mechanics, art, anything that you feel like.
And if you want to try a new project, join a game jam. And if you want to know more about why game jams are essential for a game developer, watch this video right here. This was part 2 of Game Dev Pitfalls. Please like, share and subscribe this video. It means a lot to us and it helps us maintain this YouTube channel.
Yep, and also press that little bell button
Thank you.
and always be notified when we post something new.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye. This doesn't apply only to game devs, this also applies to... Okay, I skip this part.
Should I say? Okay.
No, I started. Over-prepare. Overpower. This doesn't only apply... I can't do this! For game dev, but also for general hobbies. You hobbies.
Nope.